Some truths can't be explained, only remembered. And somewhere inside you, daughter, there's a knowing that doesn't make sense to the mind, but whispers loudly to the heart. It's not just longing, it's recognition. Your soul already knew him, long before this lifetime. That's why you couldn't shake the feeling, even when logic told you to let go. You weren't just meeting a man, you were meeting a memory, a familiar echo from a place untouched by time. And it stirred something sacred inside you, something older than heartbreak and deeper than desire. When your eyes met, heaven didn't blink. Time slowed because eternity was brushing against the present. You didn't fall in love, you remembered it. Not the version filled with timelines and fears, but the one made of light, purpose, and divine assignment. That's why he didn't feel like a stranger. That's why silence between you never felt empty. That's why his presence felt like a place, not a person. It was your spirit recognizing something your mind hadn't caught up to yet, something destined, yet unfinished. But even soul ties can face storms. Even divine timing includes delay. And what hurts most isn't just losing him. It's feeling like you've lost a part of yourself that only came alive when he was near. But let me remind you, beloved, you are not half of a soul. You are whole, even in waiting. Heaven doesn't make mistakes, but it does allow space. And in that space, growth happens. Separation isn't always punishment. Sometimes it's preservation. God knew what needed to break before something sacred could be built. And so the pause came, with pain wrapped in silence. You've questioned everything, wondered if you imagined the depth, doubted the connection. But I see the moments you never spoke about, how his energy lingered even when he left, how your prayers shifted from bring him back to make me ready. That's maturity. That's surrender. You think you've been walking alone, but I've been walking with you. And while you were grieving what was, heaven was preparing what could be. Not every connection is meant to be completed now. Some are being refined in separate sanctuaries. Daughter, he felt it too, even if he never said it, even if fear made him run or pride made him distant. You weren't the only one who remembered. But sometimes one soul is ready before the other. And readiness can look like heartbreak until heaven says, now. So don't shrink your soul to match his delay. Grow anyway. Evolve anyway. Rise anyway. What's meant for you will never be missed, but it might be postponed until it can be held with reverence. Because God won't place something eternal into hands that still tremble with confusion. Let yourself feel what you feel. This isn't obsession. This isn't fantasy. It's remembrance. It's the ache of spiritual memory colliding with earthly time. But you were never meant to stay stuck in the ache. You were meant to transform through it. There is more for you than waiting. There is purpose while you heal. Your calling is not on pause because love feels distant. In fact, your purpose will be the very place where love finds you again. Not because you chased it, but because you became alignment. Sometimes what we think is timing is actually readiness. And you, daughter, are becoming ready. Ready to love without losing yourself. Ready to receive without fear. Ready to see him again, not with desperation, but with discernment. If he returns, it won't be to complete you. It'll be to join you. And if he doesn't, someone else will. Because this story was never about who. It was about you. About you remembering your worth, your strength, your eternal identity. Don't fear the silence. It's where God whispers most clearly. Don't fear the delay. It's where character is formed. And don't fear the loss. Because nothing sacred is ever truly lost. It's only hidden for a season until it can be honored the way it was meant to be. You are not broken. You are being rewired. Not for survival, for love that mirrors heaven. Love that doesn't rush, doesn't wound, doesn't run. The kind of love that recognizes your soul and bows in reverence, not ego. There's a day coming when you'll stand face to face with him or with someone who carries the same light, and you'll feel it again. But this time, you won't question it. Because you'll be a woman who knows her own soul so deeply, no connection can shake her foundation. Let your prayer shift from bring him back to bring what's aligned. Let your tears become oil. Let your waiting become worship. Because what's coming won't feel like rescue. It will feel like recognition. And you'll say, my soul knew. And God confirmed. You don't need a timeline. You need trust. You don't need a name. You need peace. And peace, daughter, is coming. The kind that doesn't just settle you, it surrounds you. The kind that silences every doubt and softly says, yes, it was real. And yes, there's more. And when it comes, whether it's him or something heaven has crafted just for you, you'll smile, not because you waited perfectly, but because you remembered faithfully. And that was always enough. There are some connections the world can't explain. And maybe they're not meant to be explained, only experienced. You didn't fall too fast. You fell into something ancient. And your heart, though confused, wasn't foolish. It was responding to a blueprint hidden in the divine. That's why moving on hasn't felt natural, because what you felt wasn't temporary. It wasn't just chemistry, it was code. Something encoded into your spirit before time wore names and faces. That's why it lingers even now, because eternity doesn't dissolve in the present. It waits. You've been trying to silence the pull, distract your mind, move forward like everyone says you should. But there's a difference between letting go and dishonoring the sacred. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means trusting what's yours will recognize you again and arrive healed. He might be on a journey of his own, one that requires him to meet himself before he can meet you fully. Don't despise the distance. Sometimes love needs space to grow its own spine and not lean on yours for survival. You weren't too intense. You weren't too emotional. You weren't too much. You were just in tune with something heaven hadn't fully revealed yet. Sometimes the world makes you feel crazy for believing in what your spirit already confirmed. But daughter, don't shrink to make others comfortable. You carry prophetic memory in your bones. You feel before it's visible. You discern before it's obvious. That's not a flaw. That's a gift. The right one won't fear your depth. He'll be drawn to it like a calling. You don't need to be louder. You need to be clearer. Clarity has a frequency, and the more you walk in it, the more distractions will fall away, including people who were never tuned to your vibration. Let them fall. They were never part of your assignment. There is still a reunion on the horizon, but it may not look like what you pictured. Sometimes the one who returns isn't the same, and neither are you. But if the foundation is real, it won't be ruined by time. It will be refined by it. You're not crazy for feeling connected beyond explanation. There are threads between souls that stretch across lifetimes. And even when this world forgets, heaven doesn't. Some hearts are marked before they ever meet, and yours was one of them. He may not say it. He may not even know how to hold it. But he felt it. He knew something shifted when you came into his life. He may have buried it under logic and fear, but his soul remembers, and that memory will rise again when the time is ripe. You're not waiting on a man. You're waiting on a moment, A divine intersection where both of you are whole, aligned, and able to hold what your souls recognized long ago. Until then, keep becoming. Keep building the life that makes you proud to live it alone or together. Don't confuse distance with disconnection. Heaven often hides what it's healing. You're not being kept apart to suffer. You're being kept apart so that nothing gets in the way of what must be complete before reunion. The pain you carry is not a sign that you're broken. It's a sign that you loved from a place deeper than most dare to go. That kind of love leaves a mark, but it also creates room for something stronger, purer, more eternal. One day it will all make sense. The silence, the separation, the strange peace that never left. You'll realize it wasn't about timelines. It was about trust. It wasn't about who reached out first, but who grew into the version that could stay. Your soul isn't confused. It's just ahead of your story. That's why your body aches with longing, but your spirit still feels safe. You're standing in the tension between what was once remembered and what is yet to return. Every woman who loves like you does carries mystery. You love from your spirit first, not your skin. That's why it's felt even in silence. That's why it's remembered even in absence. That's why it always returns, one way or another. Even now, his spirit still looks for you, not out of desperation, but out of design. Some things are built to find their way back, not because of nostalgia, but because of destiny. And destiny always completes what it starts. You are not waiting in vain. This is a divine delay, not a denial. And in the meantime, heaven is not just working on him. It's working on you, your clarity, your courage, your capacity to receive the love you once only carried alone. When the day comes, when the recognition returns, it won't be dramatic. It'll be peaceful, familiar, like a whisper from long ago saying, "You're home." And you'll know your soul never forgot, and neither did his. You've been wondering if you're holding on to a ghost, but what you're holding is a thread, a spiritual thread that hasn't snapped, only stretched. And with each step forward, you're not losing it. You're learning to hold it with open hands, not clenched fists. There's a reason you're so sensitive when his name comes up, even in silence. It's because your spirit hasn't fully released the assignment. Not the fantasy, but the soul-level significance. This isn't about wishing he was different. It's about knowing something remains unfinished. You can feel when he thinks of you, can't you? It doesn't come in words, it comes in atmosphere. A subtle shift in the air, like a soft gravity pulling at your chest. That's the weight of connection. Not imagined, not created, remembered. You're not crazy for hoping. You're courageous for holding space for something divine. Because what you're holding isn't a man, it's a promise. And God doesn't tease. What he authors, he finishes. Even if it takes time, silence, and surrender. Sometimes your heart races when nothing is happening. That's because things are moving in the spirit. You're being adjusted to receive. He's being adjusted to return, or to release you, so you can be met with someone who carries the same frequency. You're not waiting to be chosen. You were chosen for a connection that went beyond timelines. The world only sees chapters, but heaven reads essence. And in essence, your souls touched long before bodies ever met. He's not your destination. He's a mirror, one that showed you the depths you were capable of, one that revealed how far you could love. But mirrors can also break, and in the cracks, you found yourself more clearly. Even if he never returns, the love you held wasn't wasted. It was prophetic. It stretched your heart in ways that made you ready, not just for him, but for the kind of love that never asks you to shrink to fit. Let go of the version of him you built in survival. If he returns, he must meet you in truth, not memory, not imagination, but here, in the clarity you fought to earn. You deserve to be loved by someone present, not just someone familiar. God doesn't bring people back to finish old cycles. He brings them back to begin new ones, if, and only if, both hearts are whole. And if not, then he brings someone new who honors the same spiritual thread, with readiness. Sometimes the test is this: will you honor what you felt and still choose yourself when the moment doesn't match the memory? Will you trust that what was real doesn't always mean it was meant to last? Even soul connections have assignments. Not all are lifetime seats. You won't miss what's truly yours, but you will outgrow what once fit perfectly. Don't confuse comfort with covenant. You're not called to repeat old feelings. You're called to walk into new fulfillment. There's a reason your prayers changed tone. You stopped begging for return and started asking for restoration. You stopped asking for him and started asking for peace. That shift was heaven's sign that you're ready for the next chapter, with or without him. He's felt it, even if he buried it, even if he replaced it. The soul doesn't forget who it recognized before memory had formed. And one day, something will remind him, a dream, a smell, a stillness, and he'll remember the moment that never left him. But your story isn't hanging on his realization. It's hanging on your alignment. You've walked through fire. You've carried silence like a crown. And now, you're walking into a season where your inner knowing leads louder than any external voice. Let yourself be seen now, not for who you were with him, but for who you are without him. Your light hasn't dimmed. It's expanded. It just needed the room to grow without leaning on recognition. If he walks back in, may he find a woman who doesn't need convincing, only confirmation. A woman who remembers, yes, but who no longer waits. A woman who welcomes what aligns and releases what resists. Your soul has already forgiven, not because he apologized, but because you chose freedom. You couldn't hold bitterness and blessings in the same hands, so you let it go. That was your power. That was your turning point. And now you feel it. The shift, the loosening, the quiet hope that no longer begs, but simply believes. Not in him, not in the past, but in the God who still writes the ending and knows your name. Because before this lifetime, your soul already knew. And heaven never forgets what it promised you. If your heart stayed with me until the end, daughter, then know this: heaven was speaking directly to you. Every word was timed, every pause was purposeful. You didn't just stumble upon this message, you were drawn to it. And I thank you for listening, for receiving, for letting your spirit be open. Now, if this message resonated with you in a deep and undeniable way, I invite you to confirm it, not just to me, but to heaven, by typing this declaration in the comments. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. Let that be your agreement. Let that be your witness. And if you feel called to keep walking this journey with us, to receive more prophetic words, divine guidance, and soul-deep clarity, join our channel. Subscribe now and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next message the angels are preparing to bring. Stay close, daughter. Heaven is still speaking, and the next message may be the one that unlocks the answer you've been praying for. May peace cover you, may strength rise in you, and may love find you exactly when your soul is ready. Until the next message.